to efficiently swim the breaststroke. In a community surrounded by the water, it is very important that people learn how to swim. One of the most common and easiest strokes when done with precision is the breaststroke. It's known for being a resting stroke and for being one of the most common strokes that people can swim incorrectly. So, a lot of us, being from Virginia Beach, have grown up in the water. So, when you're swimming as a kid, you remember how you did the frog kick? Well, the stroke that's associated with the frog kick is actually the breaststroke. The thing about it is the breaststroke seems a lot easier than it is. Not that it is not easy, but it's all about timing and precision. So a lot of people misjudge the timing for the breaststroke, which is where they end up putting in more work than they're getting. They put in more effort than necessary and don't get as far as they should if they were doing it correctly. So they're burning their energy. So, some background on the breaststroke is that it made its public debut in 1904 at the Olympics in St. Louis. It's a very popular stroke because it works every muscle in your body, so it's a really good calorie burner, which is kind of how it became so popular with the everyday domestic mother. They all come to the pools and they'll do their water aerobics and they do their little breaststroke. Many people who try and swim the stroke are not swimming it correctly. The statistics is 1 in 4 people actually know how to swim this stroke correctly. So, how to perform the breaststroke kick. You begin by bending your legs at the knee, and then you point your toes out to the side and bring them together, and your legs are moving in a counterclockwise. Sorry, that was really wrong. Your left leg is moving in a counterclockwise position, and your right leg would be moving in a clockwise type motion. Hold on. Right leg clockwise, left leg counter. Your right leg moves in a clockwise type motion, and your left leg moves in a counterclockwise type motion. Okay, so then when you're kicking in a semicircle type pattern. You should be bringing your legs back together. So you need to make sure when you're pulling your legs back that you do it with power. So the more power you use, the more water you're moving. If you're doing it and you keep your form very nice and you keep your toes pointed and when you're pulling them up, and then when you go around, you got to make sure you cup your toes so you're pulling as much water as possible and you're pushing your legs together with force. The more water you move, the farther you move. So I'm going to try and piece this together. So I'm going to show you what the breaststroke kick actually looks like. So, okay. Okay, so for the breaststroke kick, you're bending at the knee, and you can see that I'm bringing my heel up towards my butt. So you bend at the knee and bring it up, and then you go out as far as possible, and you swish back together. So the point is, I'm going to show you from the front. The point is you're bending, and obviously you can't do both legs or I'll fall. You bend out together. So bend out together. So when you're doing that, when you're bending, you're pushing water this way, and then when you're going out, you want to go out as far and extend as far as you can, because when you pull back in is when you're really getting the glide and you're moving more water for the momentum to push yourself forward. Okay. So, the saying for doing the kick is bend out together. I think you'll notice that I said that when I was doing it. So the next part of the breaststroke is going to be your pull. So for the breaststroke pull, you're like this. So you're bending and pushing out. So a nice saying that I use when I'm teaching this is, since you're beginning with both arms bent, it's almost like You begin with both arms bent, like, so you're going to go like at that. So it's like almost like you're saying a prayer. So begin with both arms bent and your hands together as if you're saying a prayer. Then you fully extend your arms forward while still keeping your hands together as if they were glued. Then individually make a cup with your hand and then pull against the water as if you were scooping ice cream with them. And then push your hands back together and push it back out and you're back at the beginning. So it's when you do it nice and fluidly. So you're starting, you're pushing out, scooping in, and then whoop, back at the beginning. So a saying that we use for this for kids is you make the pizza and you cut the pizza. So you're making the pizza after, I guess you could say you cut the pizza and you make the pizza. But so you're pushing the pizza out. You're making so you're making the pizza and you're cutting it. You're making the pizza and you're cutting it. So the stroke is drastically underestimated and considered to be a lot easier than it is. So the thing about this is then when you have your stroke and you're putting it all together, you have to make sure your timing's really perfect. The saying that goes along with the breaststroke is pull and breathe and kick and glide. And it's very important to get those right because a lot of people will do both simultaneously, which is incorrect because then you're just burning your energy and you're not getting anywhere. So when you pull, you're going to come up and breathe. So after you've circled around, you're going to come up for a breath right before you push out. So when you come up for that breath, so you pull, you're breathing, and then you're going to do your kick out and you glide. So what it's really going to look like is, so after you're going to do your pull. So you do your pull and breathe, and then you kick and glide. And when you glide, you shoot your arms out forward and you're cutting through the water. And that part is when you're resting. So you're getting that rest while you're still slicing through the water, which is why it's such an effective stroke. You just have to make sure that you get that timing down. So when doing it, I always recommend that you say that in your head. So pull and breathe and kick and glide. Okay. So now that you've heard the specific timing of each individual action for the stroke, I hope you have a better appreciation for it because now I think you can see, or I hope you can see how important it is to get your timing right. And that's what's going to make it so that you can swim further and more efficiently without burning so much energy. So, in conclusion, now that you know the saying, the pull and breathe and kick and glide, and I've talked to you about the timing and the sequence of the whole entire stroke, I encourage you all to try it and give it a shot. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or email me. I would be more than happy to help you out with it if you have any questions. I also work at the local rec center, so if you would like to come in, I'd be more than happy to help you out with your stroke, or if you have any other questions about swimming. But it's very important to me, I think, it's very important to know how to swim, especially in the community we live in. It's very important. It's very important to learn how to swim in this day and age in the community we live in because we're surrounded by water, and with all the technology, I feel like people are not very attentive to what's going on in aquatic situations and in everyday environments that include the water, like when you go to the beach and everything. Areas that aren't guarded, people are always on their phones. People don't really pay attention to other people. No one cares about other people anymore in this generation, which is really a shame. But because of that, it's very important that we're all self-aware and self-educate, like that we're all very aware of the situations around us and that we know how to do things on our own so we can be independent. So I really encourage you to look into swimming lessons if you don't know how to swim, and if you do know how to swim, there's always room for improvement. Have a wonderful day. Bye.